Is skateboarding a sport? Well, a sport is defined as an athletic skill that you use in competition against other people. So yeah, it's a sport. But it's also an art form. Skateboarding is a beautiful thing, and you can express yourself on your board in a million different ways. But if you're not very good at it, it's gonna be hard to treat skateboarding like an art form. In my opinion, the best way to get good enough to use skateboarding as a true art form is just by treating it like it's a sport. So that means you're an athlete now. And the sooner you accept that, the better. Treating skateboarding as if it were a sport leads us to some pretty simple conclusions. Like, all of a sudden, drills are useful for progression. Here are 3 of my favorite drills that you can work on right now, no matter what your skill level is, that will help you progress. The first drill you can work on is called single leg snakes. Plant your front foot on the board and balance over one leg and turn both left and right. To do this, you're gonna have to have really good feel for your front foot on the board. It's helpful to turn your front foot just a little bit so you can feel the heel side with your heel and the toe side of the skateboard with the ball of your foot. You're gonna have to make all these micro adjustments as you start turning to make sure you can aim the board and stay balanced. If it is tough to turn both left and right, you can actually move your foot around a little bit while you're skating. If you shift your board over towards the heel side, you're gonna start turning. Then if you shift your foot over towards the toe side, you'll start turning the other way. This is a very different feeling than leaning towards your toes and leaning towards your heels to make it turn. I want you to practice this, both switch and regular, so you're confident in your ability to balance over one leg and consistently turn back and forth. There's a very clear progression from mastering your single leg snakes to then improving at your pushing. While you're pushing, you're gonna be always turning left and right to adjust your line and to make sure you're going exactly where you want, maybe to hit an obstacle or just dodge someone or skate down the street. My next favorite drill is called the wheel hover complex. It's complex because there are a couple of different skills within this one progression you'll be working on. You're gonna start with your tail on the ground. Then you're gonna push your front foot down towards the ground without touching your front wheels. So as you push on your front foot, your tail will pick you up into the air and then you set it back down. The tail makes my whole body rise up into the air and then back down. Avoid falling over your front foot and then trying to hold it in the air. That's not what this drill is. This drill is about getting confidence, pushing your front foot down, pushing into both of your feet, loading both of your feet with equal pressure at the bottom, feeling like you can push your wheels so they're close to the ground, and then set your tail back down. The progression from this one goes straight into a wheel hover hippy jump. So that means you can push your wheels down and then jump and land on all 4 wheels. This requires you to be able to push maximum weight into both your feet to leave the board without accidentally putting your wheels down first. After you get that down, I want you to do the same thing, but as you do your hippy jump, you get your front foot up and out of the way, and you let that nose come up into the air, and you tap your tail against the ground. We call this one a wheel hover ollie. If you master this skill right here, you will be way ahead of the game as far as skateboard progression goes. The next drill you can do is a series of hippy jumps to gain confidence and feel on your skateboard. Being in the air is one of the hardest skills to master. So you have to practice floating over your skateboard. I want you to start with a partial squat with a small hinge at your hips so your chest is facing down towards the ground. Then do a small hippy jump to get your feet to float in the air while you're holding your body pretty much still. So you are just pushing into your feet to float. Once you get that down and you have some confidence with that, move on to high hippy jumps, where you're just giving 80% power, 90% power in your jump. At this stage, you'll be focusing on where you're landing on your board. As you jump higher, you're more likely to leave your board behind or accidentally shoot it out. Then the final stage is hippy tuck jumps. What you're gonna focus on is picking your knees up to your chest and hitting yourself in the shoulders with your knees at the top of your jump. You notice, to hit my shoulders, I'm gonna have to lean my upper body into it to get into the position. That's great. I don't want you just jumping and picking your feet up as high as you can. I want it to be a hippy tuck jump. This will help you gain confidence, what it's like to be in the air at maximum height with your knees way up and the bottom of your feet facing the ground. This is how the top of your tricks will feel. No matter what trick you're doing, that's the position you'll be in, whether it's catching a kickflip or if it's just doing a big ollie. Practice all of these drills, both switch and regular, no matter what your skill level is. If you're gonna treat skateboarding like it's a sport, it makes sense to treat yourself like you're an athlete. That means it's important to find some form of exercise outside of skateboarding. It's probably not widely accepted in skateboarding to be a proper gym rat and to do heavy squats and bench presses, but if you feel that pressure, like you want to be a skater and not an athlete, so that means you shouldn't go to the gym or do things like that, that's ridiculous. You can just forget that idea. A lot of the top pros train just like regular athletes. Okay, get that in your head right now. They're at the gym, they have a schedule, they practice their skateboarding. Kind of just pretend they're doing it in a cooler way than other sports when it's just the same thing. The next thing you can do is make sure you have a healthy diet. I'm not gonna tell you what to eat and not to eat because what makes you feel good is different than what makes me feel good. But consistently putting high quality foods in your body and being aware of what you do and do not want to eat is really important. Take care of yourself in a general sense. Get good sleep, have a decent schedule, and prioritize the things that are important to you, which if you want to progress at skateboarding, you need to prioritize things that give you energy, make you feel motivated, and dedicate time to spend on your skateboard in a way that works for your life. That's my spiel on if skateboarding is a sport or not. You can let me know what you think down in the comments, and thank you for watching.